Hey there. Let's imagine your brain isn't this fixed, mechanical thing that just sits there doing its job. Instead, picture it as this ever-changing terrain, full of paths that you walk every day or don't walk, depending on what you do. I figured this out when I kept repeating the same patterns in life and wondering why I wasn't getting different results. Today, I'm going to tell you how my brain really works or started working differently, how I learned to rewire it, and how you can use these ideas too if you want to become that successful human being you imagine. In my own journey, I noticed that my brain is made up of billions of neurons, linking up through synapses, forming massive networks that handle everything, from what I feel to what I think to what I keep doing. I used to assume that after your childhood those patterns are pretty much locked. But I discovered something called neuroplasticity, the idea that your brain stays flexible, can change, adapt throughout life. What that looked like in real life for me was this: when I decided to learn something new, say public speaking or journaling daily, I wasn't just picking up a habit. My brain was shifting. New pathways were being built, old ones slowly fading. I was rewiring my brain every time I repeated a new thought or a fresh behavior. So if you're serious about building success, however you define it, habit, mindset, resilience, growth, then knowing how your brain is wired and how to work with it helps big time. Here's one thing I realized. When you fire a set of neurons together consistently, they wire together. In my case, when I kept thinking, I'm not good enough or I'll fail, my brain strengthened those thought paths. But when I began thinking, I can do this, I'll learn from this, and repeated actions aligned with that, those new paths got stronger. Another thing, your brain isn't picky about whether the pattern is good or bad. It'll strengthen whichever you repeat. I had a phase where I procrastinated a lot, talked myself out of doing things, used self-doubt as an excuse. Those patterns got wired unless I flipped the script. That's when I realized rewiring means both building new patterns and weakening the old ones. Here's how I made it practical, and you can too. First, I got aware. I started catching myself in the moment when I thought, why bother? Or, I'll just fail again. Just noticing that gave me space to choose differently instead of going on autopilot. Then I chose the new pattern I wanted. For me it was, I am someone who grows, who learns, who takes action. I set some small habits. Reading a little each day, journaling what I did and how I felt, reaching out to someone new weekly. I repeated these, because repetition is the gas that fuels rewiring. At first it felt weird, forced, but I stuck with it. Over time my brain responded. Functionally I felt different, less fear, more curiosity. Then structurally I believe things changed, new wiring, fresh neural tracks. I also realized the environment and supporting habits matter. Your brain rewires much better when you're sleeping enough, managing stress, exercising, learning new stuff, staying socially connected. These aren't optional. They're the soil in which rewiring takes root. And here's the thing, patience and persistence are your friends now. Real rewiring doesn't happen overnight. I learned that the brain loves the familiar even when the familiar sucks. My new path felt weird, hard, but I kept going anyway. So how did this link to my definition of success? For me, success stopped being just about external things, money, title, recognition, and became about internal wiring. Mindset, habits, resilience, self-belief, focus, learning. When my brain was wired for negativity, self-doubt, fear, life felt like I was always dragging uphill. When I rewired it toward growth, optimism, purposeful action, wow, the climb got easier. Let me give a concrete example from my life. I used to dread giving any presentation. I thought, I'll mess up, people will judge me, why am I here? That story got wired. Then I consciously changed the story. This is my chance to share value, to learn, to grow. I prepared a talk, practiced in front of the mirror, then with friends. Each time I tracked how I felt. Weeks later, I noticed the old thought, I'll mess up, lost its grip. The new thought, I can share value, got stronger. My brain rewired, and now I can speak with confidence. That's what I mean by rewiring for success. And yes, I wound up having setbacks. Of course. Missed my journal days, had a talk that didn't go great. But that doesn't mean I failed forever. My brain will strengthen whatever path I keep walking, but I got to choose which path. Success isn't perfection. It's the ability to keep showing up, keep rewiring, keep growing. So here's the takeaway: your brain is malleable. Every thought you think, every action you take, every habit you form is wiring you. If you want to be successful, you've got to become intentional about your wiring. Notice the old patterns, pick the new ones, repeat them, support them with healthy habits, and be persistent. In conclusion, I'm not stuck with the wiring I inherited or the wiring I built by default. I have the capacity to shape my brain, to choose patterns that serve me, to weaken the ones that hold me back, and to build the architecture of the human being I want to be. Maybe today is the day you start rewiring too.